Okay, it's April 20th, and Northern California and Nevada and Oregon and Washington State are getting heavily chemtrailed, especially Nevada. Let me put a little color on this and you can see it perhaps a little better. These are solid chemtrails here, and they're also being sprayed heavily over Northern California and even out in the Pacific. Now the reason for this is that they're building a reflector surface because there's going to be heavy rain in central Texas mid-afternoon today. So they want to use, they need a reflector surface to bounce the Gakona HAARP beam so that it will travel farther and can shut down the rain in Texas. Let me go back and show you basically what's happening. Okay, the Gakona HAARP is up here, and so this beam is going to be aimed right like this, and you can see Nevada is really just perfectly halfway. So go back to visible light. Okay, so I mean Nevada, they need a reflector surface right here, and also they are still chemtrailing in Oregon and Washington State, but this forms a reflector surface so they can shut that down. And what's happening in what's predicted to happen in Texas this afternoon is really a ton of rain. And since they have a war against the Texas Panhandle, they're trying to claim the water rights by showing how much the wells have gone down. Here's a current drought map, drought monitor map. You can see and this is for today, you can see they actually have a war going on against the Texas Panhandle and against the growing region of California. Now if we had a Mexico map, the whole growing region of Mexico is going to look dark red or brown, like that shows exceptional drought, D4. This is like the the highest grade of drought, exceptional drought, D4. Okay, so I want to go back and show you what they're also attacking Montana. This is a continuation of what they were doing last night. Zoom. Montana had a bunch of rain predicted, and so they put a HAARP downburst on top of it, which basically killed the entire rain system. Go ahead and start that. Okay, in Montana we have an upper level low and a surface low. So this should be an intense rainmaker. It should be completely clouded over and just pouring cats and dogs. And instead what we see is open areas, and we see the HAARP ELF clouds here. And not only that, with this low pressure we should see entirely counterclockwise rotation. Low pressure is rising air, has counterclockwise rotation. Instead, what do we see right here? We see clockwise rotation right here. In the clear area, where this dry air is being pressed to the surface by the heating of the HAARP beam. Let me zoom in on water vapor mode, and you can see dry air being pressed to the surface. So this is an attack on Montana. This is an attack on the winter wheat that the American farmers are trying to grow so that we can have bread all year long. And we can see the chemtrails pretty nicely in water vapor mode here. So even though there's no rain predicted for California, they have been chemtrailing out in the Pacific since before daybreak, and that is to attack the Panhandle. And also I have seen the HAARP signal today in the Texas Panhandle. I actually measured it and recorded it, please watch the other video for April 20th. So there's a lot of attacks going on, but it's mostly focused on Montana, which is a critical agricultural area, and also Texas, because they want to take the water rights. They want to take the farmers' land. So anyway, that's about the summary that I have for you. On the east, we can actually see the HAARP attack on Texas. You can see this every single day. That out in the panhandle, there's this dry out zone. This motherboard's kind of slow. Okay, here's this dry out zone in the panhandle. Come on. Here we go. Well, it was more prominent this morning, but they always have this dry slot focused right here. They let it rain cats and dogs in New Mexico every day. Every day. In fact, let's look at the weather rain total from yesterday. You know, with the attack on Montana, they completely shut down that rain. And then they managed to push it up into Canada, which again is a big wheat producer, so they won't let rain fall up there either. You know, and this is interesting. This pattern has existed every day for the last 3 days. It rains cats and dogs out in the Pacific, and they just let it rain. Look at that. That's 1 to 2 inches of rain. And once it gets to the coast, they're going to whack it and shut it down. And we see all kinds of odd cutouts, core outs, where the HAARP was used to shut down rainstorms that were in progress. So, but again, the Texas Panhandle takes it on the chin, because you can see how effectively, even with all the tons of rain that tried to move through this area, they have kept it all less than 1/4 of an inch. One little stripe of actual rain up to 3/4 of an inch is what I saw on the local news. So this is weather warfare. They want you to starve. They want to own the water rights in critical agricultural areas. They want to own the land. They want to buy all the farmland at 3 cents on the dollar and have all these farm families living on welfare in a concentration camp, basically. And if we don't do something to stop the HAARP and the chemtrails, this is exactly what they're going to get. They're relentless. These are gangsters. They have no mercy. They never rest. That's all I got now. Thanks.